Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochenko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones.
6 minutes.
For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochenko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Monday, June 9th.
10th.
June 10th. Today, welcome back to Mik'd Up.
That might be the first time you got it wrong.
No, I got it wrong a few times.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while.
Since I've
I
been
feel like I should class up the place today, so I went collared shirt.
here.
Also, probably because of my day job, took a little longer, and I was able to come straight here. You know, busy day, Monday. Great day. A lot to talk about. Obviously, a lot of recap. College baseball is still going on, believe it or not, even though LSU's not playing. College World Series is right around the corner. Starts this Friday, I believe. The field is basically set. There's only one team left to be determined, and that is between the game tonight with Georgia and
Georgia's opponent.
Which is NC State. And the beautiful voice that you hear in the background with the little help there is God coming down and telling me what to do. Better known as J Mitch, also from his hotel, his other home in Charlotte, North Carolina, talking everything SEC baseball. It looks like, actually it is going to be, an SEC ACC World Series. It's either going to be 5 SEC teams and 3 ACC teams, or 4 and 4, depending on the results tonight. It's obviously one game to one. It's a rubber match between NC State and Georgia tonight. We'll see who goes. But 2 best conferences in the country, without a doubt. Obviously, the only 2 conferences represented in the College World Series. If Georgia wins tonight, it guarantees that the SEC will be in the finals, because it will be an all SEC side of the bracket, which you've already seen this happen this year. The SEC tournament already happened, but they're going to replay the SEC tournament apparently in Omaha. So that's exciting for the SEC. Obviously, the ACC is also a formidable opponent. Very good baseball. We saw it with UNC playing LSU. But They a lot of great crazy games this weekend. Florida, one of the last teams in, controversial. Should they make it? Their record's not great. All this stuff. Well, they go out to Clemson Regional. They win the first 2 games, make it to the World Series. The second game that they won was a classic, was a controversial-ish type of game because there's some ejections. That center fielder for Clemson, baller. 3-run homer to tie the game in the 9th inning, then made this Willie Mays type catch in center field to continue to keep the game going. That would have ended the game. Also, the right fielder for Florida, nobody knew who he was 2 or 3 weeks ago. All of a sudden, this guy starts playing, and he's the greatest player in the world. And he hits the home run, gets all these big hits, and I don't even remember his name. Ashton something.
It's very Italian.
Ashton Wilson.
Ashton, not Italian at all, Lloyd.
Never mind.
Ashton Wilson comes out of nowhere. A lot of great baseball to talk about. A lot of, obviously, college baseball to talk about. But a lot of other things to talk about. Continuing down the Heineken headlines. The season's still going on. LSU's off-season starts. Portal season is well underway. As you've probably seen in the news or on Twitter, a lot of LSU guys have put their names in the portal. That is obviously expected after a season like this and after guys that want to play and they maybe don't see an opportunity here at LSU. They want to move on. We're going to get into some of those portal guys. Speaking of portal guys, new sport, other sport, not baseball, football season right around the corner. John Emery, I've heard that name a lot. He's been here it'll be his 6th year in college. He had put his name in the portal. All of a sudden said, oh, well, maybe grass is not always greener. Maybe there is no grass. Who knows? He's coming back.
That's where to find it.
No, we'll see.
He runs the open space, dude.
I wasn't going to do all that.
I'm saying he knows where to go with the ball.
Yep, there you go. That's true. He is back at LSU. Gives some LSU some depth in the running back room.
A lot of people go to school for 7 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yep. Learned doctors. It's family business. That's your family business.
That's right. I'm taking over.
You're taking over. And last but not least, it is NBA Finals are going on. Celtics are up 2-0 against the Mavs. They are in control of the finals as of now. We'll see what happens in Game 3, which I believe is tomorrow night. Or maybe 2 nights because I would imagine it's travel. Is it 2-3-2 or is it 2?
It is 2-2-1-1.
That's a pretty good question for you there.
I think it's 2-2-1-1-1-1.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's still the old way. Baseball
no, that's
is
the
2-3.
new way.
Oh, that's the new way.
Yes.
But baseball is 2-3-2.
Right. Still stuck in the past.
So always.
Travel day.
Always stuck in the past.
Got to take the Greyhound there.
Yeah. But a lot to talk about.
We like tradition. Respect it.
Jared, how's Charlotte treating you over there, dude? You've been there for a minute. You're gonna be come back here for a day, just sniff the Louisiana air, and then go right back over there to North Carolina. How's it treating you over there?
Lovely, man. It's great. We're having a great time. Great weather. It's kind of hot here now, but no, it's been good. It's been good.
Steamy here too. I want to wish our good friend of the show, one of our 6 men of the year, Chris McGee, a happy birthday.
Ah,
It's his birthday today.
There he is.
So
yes, it is.
give him a shout out because he's been a great replacement for you when you're gone. He's a great addition to the show when we're both here.
catch him at F45 at 12 p.m. occasionally.
You can catch him there. Yeah, it's nice when you have your own business. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can catch him popping in there any time of day. You never know what time he's
any time of day. All right, look.
Leaves early too.
Before we get to, well, actually, no, you're in Charlotte. Lloyd, how was your weekend?
Fantastic. Talk about the heat, brother.
You got to experience it. You were listen. You had an opportunity.
I did.
Nope. Let me tell you the opportunity that you had that you kind of went through, but then you had a better opportunity. Did you see the guy on the tour last week in the was it Live?
Oh yeah,
They pulled him out of the stands to go and caddy for I don't know who it was.
Fluff. Tiger's old caddy, the guy that would smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, but who was the player?
I don't know.
So he caddied for him for like 2 or 3 holes until he found another caddy. That could have been your moment. That could have been your big moment. You had your big moment this weekend though, caddying for one of your good friends.
I did.
He was in the mix.
Yes.
Then you got in the way, I think.
No, it was the opposite. He shot 74 the day before I caddied. He got on the bag, shot 66. Then we did get stuck in neutral. Maybe went back a little bit to a 74 top 8 finish. Can't complain, but
That's the U.S.
hey,
AM.
Yes, Louisiana U.S.
I
amateur.
mean, not U.S. Louisiana U.S. amateur.
and United States.
Yes.
But against your good friend Greg Berthal.
Yep,
GB.
Dirty B.
Dirty B.
Berthalot.
Berthalot. Yeah.
Dirty B. Wow. What a name.
He won the whole
Lots
thing.
out there, but it felt good to compete again. Every day is a competition. Like we learned from our good friend Clay Moffitt, it's you against the fish.
Yep.
Us against the course.
Yep.
And a little short, but 66, nothing to sneeze at. Low round of the tournament. And $250 gift card
Oh, nice. To the gift shop?
to the gift shop.
Nice.
I'll never be back because you can't get in if
Nice.
you're not a member, so it's
Nice.
all there.
You still don't even know what course you played.
No, it's either Country Club of Louisiana or Baton Rouge Country Club. One of the
Yep.
two.
Yep. Not you club.
No, it's the hoity-toities.
Yeah.
It smelled like money in there.
Well, it's good to have everybody back.
yes.
Y'all had me, you weren't here last week.
Yeah, I was in
Jay was
Chicago.
not here last week. I was in here. Stewie had your took
ones
your
and
place.
twos?
It was a great replacement for you. It's good to be back. So let's talk about this.
Yeah, actually, I was in there for Stewie Day.
One of the Stewie days.
There was 2 Stewie days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there for
No,
first.
no, last week. Yeah.
You were there for Stewie Day number 1, and then Stewie Day number 2 was watching the game. So we watched it at the end. We weren't. All the boys weren't together when the season ended.
But we were all in spirit. We're all looking at the same moon.
Yeah, it's okay.
Mm.
Um,
All-time quote, Miss Bud, like all-time quote opportunity that would have been probably etched in lore. That Jay Johnson, like, we're at the table, deal me in, would have like carried for at least the next
yeah.
2 weeks.
Jay's got some work cut out for him right now. He's hustling. His season hasn't ended. He is in the portal season right now. LSU loses 7 guys to the portal. Cam Johnson, the number 1 name in the portal because he was the number 1 recruit coming out of high school to LSU, the highest rated recruit to come to LSU, I think, ever. Let's go down the list and then we'll go back up to let's go through the list first. So Cam Johnson, left-handed pitcher. Michael Bucknam, you've seen him a little bit. Nick Bronzini, you've seen him a little bit. Zeb Rudell, still my favorite swing of the whole year.
Yep.
He had 2 hits, 2 for 10 this year. Redshirt last year had a double and a homer. The homer looked great.
Real good.
Austin Rolig
Profile picture.
should be the profile picture. Austin Rolig, infielder. Derek Mitchell, infielder, and Aiden Moffitt.
Terry Mitchell's outfielder.
Outfielder. And Aiden Moffitt, right-handed pitcher. Obviously, you saw a lot of Aiden. You saw how explosive his fastball was. The stuff that he had, couldn't figure out, couldn't be consistent enough on the mound throwing strikes. He decided to put his name into the portal. We obviously can recap a lot of them. Jay, which one sticks out the most to you?
Obviously the Cam Johnson one is huge. And look, I kind of get it. I would imagine someone that came in as highly touted as he was. It's not like he didn't get opportunities. They didn't go particularly well. I'm not surprised that him and his camp maybe think, or if that's how it went, or just that, but they would probably think like, hey, maybe this isn't the spot for you. But, that's one that has, if it all clicks and goes right, there's so much upside and potential there. You just never know what that can turn into once it leaves your building. So that's probably the biggest one for me that I think that can have the most immediate impact if it like all fell together.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that one is everybody was excited to see him. They thought he was going to factor into the mix a lot this year. Jay threw him out there early, and it was apparent early on in the season that he wasn't quite ready yet to assume the role that everybody had anticipated him having, right? And look, that happens a lot. Some people, you go to LSU or you go to a bigger school and things happen, you're like, okay, well, maybe I need a little bit of refinement. Maybe, there's a lot more pressure in the situation than I had anticipated. Whatever the issue may be, he threw 9 innings this year and walked 16 guys, gave up 12 earned runs, and had 13 strikeouts. So, obviously, he has some explosive stuff. Just didn't know where it was going, and he has to refine that. I think he has a bright future ahead of him. It's a shame that he's not going to be at LSU to reach that potential, but I wish him the best of luck. The other one I think on that list that I don't want to raise eyebrows, but it's kind of like, okay, well, this guy would be one that you could maybe have relied on next year if he continues to take that next step, and that's Aiden Moffitt. Obviously, Aiden Moffitt came in, and at one point this year you thought he had kind of turned the corner and was going to be one of those key guys out the bullpen. He was throwing 100-mile-an-hour sinker balls. He had a nasty slider, but couldn't really put it together. So that one for me was one of those ones where, okay, you kind of saw some flashes of it, and you're like, okay, maybe he takes that next step. He put his name in the portal, and he will not be there. A lot of the other guys haven't had a lot of time. Some of them hadn't had any time on the field, and they wanted to go probably moved to a place where they can play. Now, with departures come arrivals. And Jay has landed one transfer so far. Obviously, it's very early in the transfer season. There's a lot of guys still playing, and some may say, well, these guys are in the World Series. Why would they want to transfer out? You never know what's going on. You never know the situation somebody's in. But LSU landed USF pitcher Chandler Dorsey. He's a reliever from University of South Florida. He was a sophomore this year, and he led the Bulls pitching staff with 26 relief appearances. So he's a reliever. He's not going to be, unless he's a starter or hasn't started yet, but he was a reliever this year. He had 8 saves at 3.6 ERA, 12 earned runs and 30 innings pitched, 40 strikeouts, and guys hit 180 against them. I think the 180 mark is the more telling stat. Guys don't really put much big contact off of him, and it's going to be a nice addition to the bullpen after losing a few of those guys in the transfer portal that came out of the bullpen.
I'll say this too. I think for anybody who listens to us a good bit, got to hear us talk about how we thought or how we viewed the transfer portal when it came to football. I think it's a lot different when it comes to baseball, especially when it goes to you, I guess, cherry picking off guys that are coming from smaller schools. Look, this sport's a little bit different than football. It's hard to go say, let me go grab a guy who was a 2-star and get somewhere and bring him here, and all of a sudden becomes a huge college football star. Because of the physicality that dominates football, it's a little bit different. There's much more impact when it comes to, hey, I got this kid who's a late bloomer in baseball, and you being able to go and pick him off somewhere and bring him to a school like this, and then obviously continue to push him forward, i.e. Paul Skeens.
Right. Yep. And we talked about this, I believe it was Wednesday. I don't think we talked about this on Monday. Maybe we did a little bit about who LSU is going to probably target in the portal. Was that on Monday last week? Did we have this conversation on air, me and you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Let's do it right now. I wasn't here. Recap.
All right, let's do it right now. So you're going to lose guys. I'd imagine that you may lose a couple other guys in the portal. They probably have the portal window is still open. Guys may continue to put their name in the portal. I know the Louisville shortstop already has his name in the portal. He's a very highly touted guy. You have a bunch of other guys who have put their name in the portal, first baseman. In my mind, Jay's going to go after a first baseman. He's going to go after a third baseman, and I think he's going to try to go after a starter or two, right? You have depth on the mound right now. You have some starters guys that you believe are going to be your starters, but you can never have too many, as we've seen over the last couple of years. I think he may try to go get a veteran outfielder as well. And, but for me, the top 3 positions of need, first base, third base, and catcher. I think he's going to bring in a –
Neal?
Yes, one. I think he's going to bring in a veteran catcher as well to help with that load. What do you feel like, Jay?
Yeah, I think it's if you're – one, I think Neal's a guy that they are hoping and praying and wishing and probably will put a lot of time and effort into that he takes a huge step forward next year, whether that be just behind the plate, at the bat, both combined together. But I think if you can get a step up and play from him next year, and obviously he's a young kid too, if you can get a step up and play from him next year, that's going to play huge on this ball club. But along with that, you do need another guy, whether it's just a guy that's just a glove or somebody that's actually going to push him and challenge him and really may take a spot from him. That remains to be seen. But you do need another guy because, like we know, these days you don't really see catchers catching all 56 or all 5 or 6 games a week. So that's probably going to happen. On top of that, I think you're gonna need first and or third base combo, however it is, whichever one you go and get. And I do think as we see it today, you're able to go and grab guys that have a lot of experience at this level that could bring a lot of production to your lineup and change things on day one since when they step on campus.
Yeah. I think a big question mark, and it was a question mark this year. A lot of expectations from him this year. The question mark to me is going to be Kling, right? Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Is he going to enter his name in the portal, or is he going to stay here and is he going to make that jump? Because if he makes that jump and he ends up becoming the guy that everybody thought he was going to be, I think that takes away having to go out and find another outfielder because now you have four outfielders.
I think you're going to find one either way,
yeah.
Right? Because, like, you got to think about it. Like, you don't let a Derek Mitchell walk when he doesn't play at all this year. He's a huge body. He's a guy that can progress his way somewhere. You don't let him walk if you don't think, hey, I probably need something else here.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, look, let's say Kling, you can put him in the picture or not. Let's just, for this conversation, let's say he's the fourth outfielder, right? As of now, as the year ended, he was a fourth outfielder right now. You have Pearson back, who's going to be a fifth-year guy. I mean, I would imagine he's back, right? He's not. I don't think he's going to get an opportunity drafted high enough to where it makes sense for him to pass up on his senior year. So you have Pearson back, who's going to be the most experienced guy in the outfield. You're going to bring back Larson, who started for the last, 3 months of the season. So he'll have his year number 2 under his belt. Yeah. And then you're going to bring back Jake Brown, who you had in the starting lineup at the end of the season, right? So that's 3 of your starting out there. Your top 3 outfielders to end the season are all back. Plus Paxton Kling, who's probably got more potential than all 3 of them, also potentially back. So that's 4 guys that you can trust. I do agree with you. I think you bring in a guy with some experience and maybe a bat behind it, right? Because you also have that DH spot you can fill because Travinci's going to be gone. And so you have another spot where, you can play outfield. Maybe you could play a little first if if we need you to, but you're going to hit because you have a good bat. So I think that you're going to look for Jay to go find one of those guys. I also think you're going to see him replenish the bullpen. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's going to be any legit top-end game-changer type of talent that that even gets in the portal and that he's able to land in this class. Because I do think that there's kind of a need for someone that can come in and be a stalwart and be a straight-up just anchor to the lineup. Because at this point right now, what our best anchor would be, if you want to really call it that, Pearson and Milam? That's probably your 2 best anchors. I think you would, if there is that capability of finding that player, I think it would be a huge help if you can go and grab someone who you know is going to plug and play and be a high-end production type player.
Here's my question. The shortstop for Louisville is really good. He put his name in the portal. Let's say another high-end shortstop puts his name in the portal. You go bring another shortstop in. You obviously have Braswell that played. He swung it really well. Defensively, he was, average, I would say, this year at that position. I don't know what his draft prospects are like based off of what I'm seeing. And look, he may say, if I get drafted, no matter where I get drafted, I'm gone, right? Or he may say, hey, I'm not drafted high enough. I'm going to come back to school, and I'm going to come back for my senior year because he's only a junior. Could you see him moving over to third base if you got a guy playing that's a better shortstop that we get in the portal?
I mean, maybe because if you just need to be able to fill out the position. But to me, that wouldn't feel the need of high-end production type player. Like, look across the league right now. That kid himself, do you see him coming into this league and giving you, I don't know, let's say 320 with 20 plus and 70 next year?
Who?
And I'm not saying that he can't. The shortstop kid, do you see him coming into this league and being able to do that just from a bat standpoint?
I mean, I see him more than what Braswell. I mean, I see him having more production on the bat.
Last year, that's not what I asked.
Last year he had 325 with 9 or 10. So I could see him.
That's not,
I mean, 20 is a lot. I mean, I could see him hitting 15.
I know it is, but I'm talking about, look at the teams that are in Omaha right now. None of them have a shortstop hitting 330 with 20 and 70 plus. That's very hard to find. Those guys usually go straight to football. So my point is if you're going to fill in at third, you're going to fill in at first, Look at the teams in Omaha. They all got dudes that are banging in those spots.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I got you.
God.
That's what I mean by high-end production.
I didn't know where you were
type
going
player.
there.
Yeah, that was the SEC network
He could be
setup.
great. He could be a great addition, and he may be great overall. He may be even the best player that you put in overall in this. But as far as for offensive numbers and production, where is it going to come from? Because we don't have that stalwart, or we haven't had a guy that's had that kind of year on the lineup already. So who is it going to come from then?
You're gonna have to go get a first base with some juice, no doubt. Right? Like there's a few of them.
With some juice.
There's a few of them out there. Obviously, I don't know who else is out there, who's going to be out there in the portal, but I know that there's a couple good shortstops out there. I know that some people may not like the way Braswell played. He swung it well enough. He was good enough at the plate, but he wasn't a guy who struck fear in the opponents offensively.
Right.
I mean, hey, you go do what you got to do. If you're going to get hits, great. I'm happy with that. You can deal with that. But
He was a leadoff hitter.
yeah, I would imagine they're going to go out and get somebody next year to fill the corner guys with some thump for sure. I apologize. I didn't know where you were going with that.
That was
We're
that
on the
was a
same page
setup.
there.
Yeah. That was,
I just didn't know where you were going with that, but now I'm on the same page as that. So I mean, yeah, they're going to have to go get some guys.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like, I think if you can get the kid from Louisville, it'd be great for you. But that can't, to me, I won't say it can't be the top of your class, because he very well may come here, progress, and overall be the best player that you get or bring into this class. But you're going to need a serious bat in the lineup that's going to anchor the lineup. Where is it coming from?
And you want to hope that the guys in the lineup this year, the young guys in the lineup this year, and Pearson take that next level, right? You would imagine that Milam, who hit 8 home runs and found his juice at the end of the season, you would imagine he's going to continue that into next year. I wouldn't be shocked if I saw him hit between 12 and 15 home runs next year, right? As a full season, hey, he hit 8 this year. He hit 4 at the last 2 weeks, 12. With everybody hitting 12-plus home runs now, I don't see that as unrealistic. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw Pearson get to that same number, right? Because he hit 9 his freshman year. He hit 8 this year. He's got the thump. He hasn't played a full season in as everyday outfielder, right? Which is nuts.
Yeah.
I feel like if he played every day.
Yeah, I think he's one of them dudes that if he hits early on and or in the middle of the season, if he somehow hits a goofy hot streak, that will be his way of staying in the lineup every day, and that'll be the way where you see Pearson throw up 15-plus homers.
Right. I mean, look, you look at what Antoine Duplantis did. His first take the hits and the average out, but the power numbers. His first 3 years, he was single-digit home runs. His last year, he hit 14, right? So my point in saying that is these guys, sometimes you get to your senior year and you finally feel really comfortable enough to say, I'm going to just let this thing eat and have a little bit more juice. And so I wouldn't be shocked if Pearson did that. But even with those two guys in the development that they make, you're going to need somebody else in the middle of the lineup that's going to provide some thump and hit some homers. And yeah, you're going to have to go get that in the portal.
Yeah.
Unless
I mean, all I was saying is I think there has to be more offensive production that you're looking for in the portal than just bringing what seems to be a guy that's probably got even more upside than what he's shown so far, but he seems to be more of an all-around player than he is a lineup presence that we're bringing into this thing.
Yeah. I mean, look, and you have 3 guys who I think Jay feels really comfortable starting in the rotation too. But they're going to go out and get another one. I mean, they're going to go out maybe 2.
And let me just add to this too, because this team still even has one, right? But unless you're going to start playing the way that Kentucky has played, which we saw them sacrifice squeeze twice in the Super Regionals, right? Unless you're going to start trying to be a top 5 team in the country in stolen bases.
Right. You got to change the whole.
Mind you, they still have a guy who has 20-plus pops in the lineup. So, you're going to have to go find that somewhere.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And based off the way that Jay's recruited, you would think that would be modus operandi, correct? that's kind of what he's done.
But it's not even off of – see, when you're at LSU, that opportunity or the being able to entice that kind of player is always there. The problem is to this point right now, we don't see that guy in the portal, and that's where the question becomes.
Right.
So like, if it gets real scarce and they don't have that many guys that are that in the portal, are you going to be able to land the 1, 2, or however many it is that's in there? Are you going to be able to land the ones that are there?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I guess that's a conversation that we're going to monitor, but you would imagine that some of these guys, you saw Jay grab Broswell from the portal while he was in Omaha. Oops. While you saw, so it's clearly something that can happen, and some of these teams that are still that are going to Omaha and still in the tournament, you won't see those guys hit the portal till the season's over.
No, right.
So there's a lot of, I would imagine, attrition out there that you can gobble up.
For sure. It's gonna be an ongoing conversation. It's gonna be, obviously, the portal is gonna change. We've seen that with football. Some guys put their names in early. Some guys put their names late in. Some guys that put their name in early take themselves out. You don't know who's gonna be there at the end of the day. So it's one of those things that we're going to continue to monitor.
And that was one of the questions in the chat from Cade Carnahan. Is there any chance that Cam Johnson comes back? Because obviously, highly touted recruit, the highest recruit since Dylan Cruz and rated higher. You have obvious talent, and I think the way that LSU handled him, there can't be any ill will towards the.
Look, he got an opportunity, he just wasn't ready.
Yeah, and so if he wants to go and find greener pastures, sure, he's going to get a scholarship offer from everyone.
If he wants to look for a spot that can go out there and say, hey, you're going to pitch every day, every 5th day, or whatever your start is, and just doesn't matter what you do, you're going to develop on the field, then he's going to have to go find a place that's going to let him do that. LSU's not going to. The SEC is not going to let him do that, or LSU specifically, because you got to win, right? There's another side to it. It's not just about player development. Yeah, that's important, but the head coach and the coaching staff, they got to win, or there's going to be. They're going to be on the hot seat, right? You saw Jay on the hot seat this year after the World Series. I say hot seat. Not really the hot seat, but proverbial hot seat from the fans after coming off a national championship. What?
I said the Tiger seat.
Tiger Dropping's hot seat.
Tiger Dropping's the
Yeah, so, we'll see. I don't know. Obviously, we haven't talked to Jay, and we'll get Jay on here soon, and he'll be able to talk to us about, what's he's trying to go after, what's his plans, how does he navigate the portal, all those types of things. But, look, we are LSU heavy.
I do have I'm
trying to get to the baseball part.
This is LSU baseball.
I know.
But I just have, while we're talking, I just have some questions in the chat.
That's fine. Ask some questions. I like it.
There will never be more topical than now.
I love it.
So, couple questions here from Brady Fontenot. Could we potentially move Gavin Guidry to short and Broswell to third?
I mean, you could. I've gotten
got one swing.
I've gotten no confidence from the staff of them saying that they want to put him at shortstop.
Here's the thing. You could do it 100%. You could do it, but at the end of the year, are you telling me that what's the top end of what you expect to get out of that situation if you do it? Is that going to make you an elite team by using those two to occupy your left side of your infield?
Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and guess no.
Yeah, insert Michael Broswell's numbers for him, and I feel like that's probably what you would get.
Right.
Top of the, top of what you get.
Yeah.
Because Broswell had 320. I mean, it's a good year.
Right, but it's
if Broswell hits you another 320 with 10 next year, and then you enter Gavin in there as well, what are you expecting to get that's going to put you over the top that says we don't need to go get somebody or an impact player at these spots?
Right.
So y'all are in agreement that you need to find some pop.
You got to have some thump.
Somewhere.
Find some thump.
Right.
And look, and maybe
it could be on campus.
Yeah.
It could be on campus, or it could come from the freshman side. But he's going to go get somebody before that. And if a freshman comes in and ends up being like Tommy White or Dylan Cruz or someone like that, if that person is that good, he's going to get the opportunity to play. Jay's going to play the best guy, right? Look, Connor Griffin, don't believe he's coming to LSU. But if something crazy were to happen and he asked for an astronomical number and he stuck to that number and they didn't give it to him, he said, I'm going to go to LSU. That's a guy, hey, okay, this guy is going to play day one. This is the Dylan Cruz of this class. He's going to start day one, and you have to, with the expectation of him being that guy, but you just don't know. So
that would be insane if he came.
No doubt, he's not coming. I use that as an example of
Right.
like, hey,
It fixes a lot of problems.
yes. But no, I do not believe he's coming.
And another question was thoughts on Ethan Frey or Fry?
Fry.
Ethan Fry, if he stays or leaves.
So here's the deal. That's we said he could already be here.
Those are the two names. If I'm being completely honest, without necessarily calling anyone out, if you would have gotten the progression from Ethan Fry and from Paxton Kling this year that you thought you were going to get, not only would it have made this year's team a lot better, but it would make the outlook for next year a lot more clear in the sense of who can I be throwing in the middle / top end of my order, who's going to anchor my lineup.
Right, and look, not all that is his fault, right? He got the injury in the middle of the season when you felt like he was swinging it, right? Like there's circumstances that happen. So, but there is an opportunity for him to play next year. First base is open, DH is open. I know third base is open, but I think he's more of maybe he is a really good third baseman. I don't know, but I think more of a corner outfielder, first base, DH type player. He was also, I believe, a catcher.
Yep.
So, you also have that to throw into the mix. We haven't even seen him with gear on. At least I haven't. So I don't know what that looks like. But yeah, I mean, if that guy takes that next step and taps into his ability and starts hitting home run, listen, we've seen stuff like this happen. Charlie Condon did as a redshirt freshman. He comes in there and hits 25 homers. Like, you've seen guys figure it out the next year, and so that could also happen with the guys they have in the lineup.
And I think with the limited sample size of what you've seen from Frey, that I don't think it would be that big of a stretch.
Jay trusts him off the bench, first right-handed bat off the bench, right? Like, hey, that tells me you're the 10th guy.
Hey, Lloyd, why you can't pronounce this man's name right? I just don't understand that.
Because it reads Frey, and Fry is spelled Fry, and my brain just won't do it. It's just not going to happen. He's Ethan Frey. But I
tried. Some respect at this point.
I tried.
It's a four-letter last name.
Listen, I tried. I said, look, Fry. I know I'm going to get it wrong, so I just put hand up. That's on me. It's Fry. And I'll remember it from maybe the rest of the show. Because I want him to play. You broke down his swing, and you broke down his swing where you're like, if you didn't have a name or number on the jersey, you'd be like, that's a starter.
And look, I said Jay has a lot of confidence in him. I mean, Jay, every time he needed someone to get a hit off the bench, he was the first guy called. That tells me Jay trusts him, right? There was just, if you go down the lineup and you say, okay, who's coming, who do we need to take out to put him in? You couldn't do that on this team. There's a lot of teams that are like that, right? And go ahead.
I was going to say, or even if you don't even think that he trusts him, you at least know that Jay sees the ability, realizing that, like, hey, I'm not putting him out there because I don't believe he's going to get a hit, but I know if this wild card gets going, I know the top end that's possible coming from it, and maybe he's trying to spark that in him.
Yeah, no doubt. So,
here's another quick one here in the chat. Great question. Do you see Pearson coming in? Oh, little Pearson, the brother, coming in and playing third.
Here's another. Listen to me. This is another.
Yes.
Listen, we talked about this. Like, you have people coming in, and I've been dead set. I know Jared's been dead set on this. You cannot develop and build a program year after year as a winner, year after year after year, if you do not develop freshmen. Or if you're not bringing in freshmen that are talented enough to get into the lineup. Look at what North Carolina had. Their best player in the region, in the regional, was a freshman. Their third baseman, right?
Honeycutt.
No, Honeycutt didn't win the MVP.
Well, Honeycutt.
I'm talking about not talking about the best player on the team. The best player in that regional.
You mean just in the regional?
Yeah, just in that regional, not on the team. Honeycutt's obviously their best player on the team, but in the regional, the MVP of the regional was a freshman. Is my point, right? And so you bring in our best player, who's one of our best players, who is right now at USA Baseball Trials, is a freshman. You had 3 freshmen in the starting lineup at the end of the year. Plus, you have another guy that was on the mound that you threw 2 days in a row, who was lights out out the bullpen. So you have to be able to develop these freshmen. You have this guy coming in. You have the freshman class coming in that's highly touted because Jay recruits really well. And so you want some of those guys to be able to be in that lineup. You're not want to force them, but you want some of them to be in that lineup so that they can get some experience and be a cog for 3 years. That's how you develop and grow teams. And so, yeah, I mean, this recruiting class, you're going to have some of these guys that are going to shock people and say, oh, this guy's a starter, a.k.a. Milam. Yeah. Why are you doing all the eye movements and stuff over there? Did you pull up the recruiting class or something?
Oh, I Googled because you said Ethan Fry. I thought he played catcher, and I just gave him a quick Google. He was the number 12 catcher in the country.
Right. Yep. Pretty good.
So he could definitely get back there. I think a combination. I think they'll bring somebody else in, probably just because of Neal's bat, and then you want to find a defensive kind of catcher because you've seen that experiment. And I thought he caught well in his last game with Helmers, where he was actually kind of framing it up a little bit. But you kind of want that, I guess, yin and yang with what you have with Malazzo, somebody that can absolutely field it back there. And if you can get a DH, but if you have Fry come in and be able to play catcher, I think that would be a huge coup. And one more question here in the chat. Actually, two more. One's ludicrous, but this one is an interesting topic. Is Bear being gone set in stone?
Yes. I mean,
you don't, not reporting.
It's not set in stone. Like,
No,
I'm not
it's not
saying,
set.
oh, he's gone.
Oh,
Go ahead, Jay.
I said no, it's not set in stone, but I'd be absolutely shocked if he's back at all. Like, just shocked. And it would be a huge boot to LSU, but I just don't see it happening.
All right, I would love to see him come back and try to hit 30-something home runs next year. That would be amazing. But he's a draft-eligible sophomore, so teams it's extra leverage. It's an extra year of leverage. So now they have to buy him out of another negotiable year, which is his junior year. So he's got high leverage, the highest leverage he's going to have while he's in college. Now, if he goes out and hits 40 home runs next year, that wouldn't matter, but it's a lot to ask of. High leverage. He has, as a true freshman, the SEC hit like 315 with 15 homers. Then he needs to make some adjustments. Comes back as a sophomore in the SEC, hits 28 home runs and walks like 70 times, basically like 60, I think 59 times or whatever, however many walks he had. He made serious improvements at the plate, stopped chasing as much. His profile and the player that he is, the strikeouts are going to be there. It's a matter of, are you able to lay off and not strike out all the time and strike out half of the times you were, and those other half ends up being walks or, just longer at bats and getting base hit. He hit over 300 this year with 28 and 59 walks. There's nothing else that he can do really right now in college to prove that he's ready for the next level outside of, or improving his draft stock outside of coming back, hitting 350 with 35, which that's hard for anybody.
Well, the stuff that he can do is it's the risk reward of it. Like, It just doesn't it won't make much sense for him to come back.
Yeah.
Where do you think he goes?
Like, if he obviously went out there next year and hit 350 with 30, yeah, he's probably going to go a little bit higher. But what are the odds of him doing that? Do we know that that's going to happen? Who's his protection in the lineup? Like, we don't know those things are going to happen. And the risk reward of it for what he did this year, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for him to come back next year.
Agreed. So, not set in stone, but we've written it in permanent marker, in a Sharpie, on the draft board.
I would have, I would have to throw the whole lineup and everything away.
To where if he didn't come back, Sharpie on the draft board to where he didn't come back, we've got to go and either white it out, put a whole little slip, or get a whole new draft board.
Yeah. Like,
where does he go?
And I would imagine if you're Jay, you're doing everything to push him to go higher because he does deserve that. Because you do realize, like, coming back, that is so much pressure you're asking for him, for what you're going to be asking him to do, or what he's going to be asking himself to do to put himself in a better spot than he was a year before.
What are you going to ask, Lloyd? Where do we see him?
Yeah, going in the draft.
I think that he played his way into the second round. Maybe back half of the first, but I believe second round. He played himself in the second round with the way he ended the season. I mean, he did the whole year, but like he was hitting big homer after big homer after big homer in the postseason.
It depends on what's going on, but I would say I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him somewhere between like the second and the fifth round, honestly.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
And then if he comes back and does go 30 yards,
if he goes berserk, he's going to be a first rounder. Yeah, but that's like, you're not saying, hey, let me see you do it again for third year in a row. You're saying, hey, I need you to go and do something that is
go be the man.
Yeah, you're going to win the Golden Spikes if you do this, right? Like that type of thing. And that's hard for somebody to go there. And look, if he wants to do that and he wants to come back and he says this is our thing, and maybe, and I'm not an agent, or a GM. So I'm just going based off of what I'm seeing. And if his agent's telling him something different, that, hey, you go back, it's a lot better for you, then he could come back. I just don't know from seeing it and being around it if that's going to be the case.
As a show, should we just be lobbying?
I can tell you right now, if his agent tells him to come back, and it doesn't get better, he won't be his agent much longer after that. I can promise you that.
No doubt. And you're saying as a show, should we
we should be advocating for him to come back.
Listen to me. I would love for him to come back.
No, he should.
I can't. Like, the kid's future comes first, dude. Like,
I can't say that in good consciousness.
Oh, I can. 100%.
Yeah,
dude, there's no place like college. You only get to do it once.
If you hear this, dude, I would love for you to come back to LSU. But I know.
Not for me.
I know. I would rather you hit 30 home runs next year in pro ball and make it to the big leagues in a year so I can watch you on TV. And so I'd
rather watch you.
My $140 a year in Major League Baseball package doesn't go to waste when I just have to watch one team play, and that's only when I watch Skeens. I only care when he pitches. I don't give a shit about the offense. So I'd like to see more people up there. So I'd love him to go and do it, but he can't.
But I feel like y'all can be a living testimony to this. There's nothing like that last year being King Dingling on campus.
Maybe he
you
thought
only
it was
get that
this. Maybe
experience
this
once.
could have been his last year. I never came back from my senior year.
You should have.
No.
You'd have loved it.
I would have loved it. Now, actually, my situation was a tad different than Bears because the next year was the year they did the first strict slotting. So, there was there's a guy that went to Florida State, and he got drafted in, the 6th round the year before as a junior, and he's turned down, $500,000, which, as a junior in the 5th round, that's a lot of money to turn down. He turns it down and goes back to Florida State, ends up becoming the first rounder, 23rd overall pick, and he signed for $1.6 million, which was more than I signed for as a junior in the same year he got drafted for. And so after I saw that, I was like, damn, the strict slot thing is a real thing. If you're that good and they're going to draft you in the first round, they're going to give you the money that's in the slot like he did. Now, he didn't make it to the big leagues, but my situation was a little different because that rule was just enforced. Nobody really knew how they were going to do it. For Bears' situation, not different because it's always going to be the strict slotting, and I think they already know where they're going to draft him.
Real quick, from the chat, they were wondering what are the draft rules just in terms of Bears eligibility. What's the
eligible
sophomore?
He's
correct?
a draft eligible sophomore, which means he was born before the deadline, whatever that deadline is.
August 1st. He's born
August 1st. Yeah, so he was born before August 1st, and he was born on August 1st.
Yeah, he's born on the deadline.
Yeah, on the deadline. So that means he's got – well, let me back up. When you leave as a junior, which most people do.
When your mommy and daddy love each other
right?
very much.
They tell you as a junior that's your most leveraged year because now the teams are drafting you and trying to buy you out of your senior season. So you have more of a negotiating power. You're more of a commodity. Now, look, there's been seniors that are the best player in the country, by far the best prospect. They end up getting drafted in the second round. It doesn't matter, but there's not a lot of, if guys aren't that person and you would have been drafted in the 3rd round as a junior and got an X, and you're drafted in the 5th round as a senior and you're going to get $10,000 because they don't need they're not negotiating with anything. You're either going to sign with them and play baseball or you're just not going to play baseball anymore. So Bear Jones has 2 of those years. He's got sophomore year and junior year, but they have to buy him out of 2 years, right? And so he's at the highest part of his negotiating power in college. Jay?
Did you just get that text, Jared?
Wait, what you said the last one?
Did you?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Me too.
What? What happened?
That's what happens when your computer's out of batteries.
Well, what happened? What'd you do?
Coming from our guy,
is that
Jack Ballard. Sources: South Carolina is targeting Paul Maneri to be their next head coach.
Where is this coming from?
It's not April, cuz.
Teddy Cahill. I mean, he's a reputable guy.
It's the internet.
Wow.
The streets is talking, baby.
Paul would not leave U Club. I guess they got a good.
I don't think Coach wants to do that.
Hey, we can just live him in right now and just ask him.
Yeah.
We should do that.
You want to do that?
Let's give him
I'm
a shout.
gonna text him.
Text him
Not now.
right
I'm
now.
no.
Whoa.
Hey, man.
What'd you do?
Are you leaving?
Yeah, I ain't texting him right now. I don't
Jared,
trust.
why don't you
I
hit
don't
it?
trust myself to get the answer, and I have zero poker face. So
Jared,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's a smokescreen for someone else.
I agree.
Leave it at that.
I agree.
well, and other coaching news that we've seen, not to totally, but I mean, this is a great pivot point. Obviously, you saw Kendall Rogers and go on Moscona's show and say that Texas is going to take a swing at the very own Jay Johnson.
Yeah, and sure, take a swing at him. I mean, that's always
I'm
going to
gonna be
happen.
honest with you.
Do I think they're going to do that? I think it's a negotiating ploy for
ahead.
him. I think he's
Go
using
ahead,
it to get
yeah.
more. I think he's using it to get more money.
Who, Jay?
Yeah.
I mean, he could.
You see that every year in the football. The coach thinks, oh, this school is coming out of nowhere to talk to this guy who's been super successful, won national championship. Oh, we got to go renegotiate. Ex-coach renegotiate his contract for 3 extra years and another extra $1 million on his contract. Do you not?
No.
You don't see it every year in college football.
No, I do, but I
Okay.
don't see it in this situation. That's with the coach that has some potential to maybe leave when you're not. This is my take on it because
This guy has potential to leave. Maybe he didn't love
you
the
have
pressure.
to think about Jay Johnson.
I'm playing devil's advocate. He
Yeah.
you can never say never to somebody. You know, like you think that there's always an opportunity for someone to go elsewhere. I don't believe he's going to, but
I'm saying I don't believe in the scenario in which he's using this as leverage to be able to get more years or more money. He just re-upped last year, and you have to realize in my mind that LSU is like king of the rock when it comes to
No doubt.
like
They are
college
king of the
baseball.
rock.
Like that's like trying to go get Nick Saban from Alabama. It's like, dude, I'm pretty happy here. Like there's no other place I really want to be. Like Texas can beat Texas.
Well, I'll
That's
push back.
fine.
I'll push back a little bit. Early Nick Saban time in Alabama, I believe that there was an opportunity you could have gone and get him at one point. The right team.
LSU.
Like the right team, right? It may only be one team in the world that he would leave for, but like after he won a couple in a row, like after the 2009 season, he was obviously going to stay there. But like, if after those first 2 seasons or 3 seasons, like somebody came and gave him the right situation, I could see him going somewhere. But not, I mean, once you get through that, no. So I get what you're saying, but you know, who knows? Maybe Jay grew up Texas fan. Who knows?
He grew up an LSU fan.
Maybe he said that to us, and he really grew up a Texas. I'm not saying it's going. I'm just, you know,
Ugh. I thought we wanted him on the show.
he's coming on the show. I'm not talking anything but ill will on him.
No, it's like saying you don't believe in Santa Claus. Man's
What?
real. He's here.
What?
He's alive.
No, I don't think it's a real thing though. Jay, you can now. I'm sorry, you talk.
He's texting Paul.
No, I don't think it's real. I think it's a smokescreen as well. Don't think it's real. No other way to say it.
The next one was Vitello to Texas. Who does Texas think they are?
I mean, I don't think Vitello. If Vitello wins it this year, definitely not. I don't think that's. I feel like Texas is gonna have to go get somebody that hasn't proven themselves at the highest in the highest conference in the country. You think that these guys want to go leave the SEC to another SEC team just because of the name of Texas and come back into the SEC and play these teams? No shot.
No.
Then start all over. I know at the portal it's a little easier now, but
Or a little harder.
or a little harder.
I would love to see Paul go to South Carolina and get the LSU South Carolina baseball game on the map. Have both of them on the show.
Who's that?
Paul Maneri, Jay Johnson, SEC.
That'd be great.
That would be great for the ratings.
That would be.
We could do the live call-in during the game. Both of them.
That's right.
Same time.
That'd be awesome.
Same place.
Yep. Is that the last question?
Oh, just to go off, this is the one I was looking for. Sorry, give me a second. It says that Bear Jones projected 119 in the draft.
That's what, third round?
2 through 5. That's it.
So if you could go from a 5th rounder to a 1st rounder, would you take that chance?
100 and some 5th round, or is that 3rd round?
Lloyd, I don't think you're understanding. Lloyd, you're not going to a 1st rounder just out of nowhere because, hey, look, we've never really seen him play the outfield, even though we think he probably can. But
that's a pitching point. You could sell him that.
We can sell that. But if I'm going to sell that, then I ain't going to overdraft you at 1.
No, I'm saying if you're
Doesn't make any
LSU,
sense.
I'm saying if you're LSU, you could sell that
back.
as all right, you think you can make more money in the outfield as opposed to being a first baseman. We'll give you an opportunity to run out there. I mean, you put Jacob Berry at 3rd, and that's for one reason.
No, dude, I'm going to be honest with you.
I think Tommy comes back.
Once again,
Me too.
For him to go to left field and or right field, that means he's got to come back. And I'm not saying he's got to hit 450, but he's got to have a Charlie Condon type year. Like maybe you got to hit 360, 370 with 30 plus to be able to say, this bat is going to play. I don't care what you say at the next level.
Polo grounds.
Yeah.
What's the chances of that happening?
And then, look, they're low. But you know what? He could do it. And so maybe, and I'm not saying he's coming back, but if he thinks that he's going to be able to do that, he could come back, but he's not going to. And it's not going to be the sell, hey, we're going to let you play left or right.
Center.
No. It's not. That's not going to bring him back to LSU. Because just showing that position, that he can play that position, is not going to draft him. It's not going to boost him up 2 more rounds. What's going to boost him up 2 more rounds is the bat.
It's 40 more yaks.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not. That's why I said 2nd through 5th. I think it's somewhere in there. Somebody that might absolutely fall in love with him and see the bat and see the power and see the potential and see what it could be may absolutely fall in love with him and say we want to overdraft him, maybe take him somewhere in the middle to the back end of the 2nd round. But
Lloyd,
other than that, he's probably somewhere in that range.
Can you pull up the draft
Prognosticators?
order? No, the draft order of the 2024 Major League Baseball draft?
This is my least favorite draft.
Well, I know it's too long, but what I just want to see is how many, because every year the supplemental 1st round picks change. Like my year, there are 60 of us, 60 picks in the first supplemental round. Some years it's 48. Some years it's what changes based off of free agency the year before.
They do a lottery?
Yeah, that changed that at the next CBA, or last CBA.
So do you want? I have the draft order here.
No, I don't need the teams. I just need to go. When does the first supplemental round end? When's the first round end?
Oh, at 30 picks? Is that what you're asking? I have no clue what you're talking about, dude. You're the one that got drafted, not me.
I'm telling you, look at the first round. It's not like a normal draft where you have 30. You have 30 first-round picks, but then you have first supplemental, which is still considered first round, which is there's going to be that number is going to vary because the supplemental picks are based off of free agency and those types of things.
Okay, let me show you what I'm looking at, and I will read it to you. So after the first 30 picks, prospect promotion incentive picks. Arizona Diamondbacks 31, Baltimore Orioles 32.
That's
compensation picks, Twins 33.
That's
competitive balance round A.
Yep, all those.
2, 4, 6 picks, and then the 2nd round. So you want those teams?
No. So 6 picks. So that's about
6, 7, 8, 9.
So there's 9 extra picks. Is my point. So there's really 39 picks in the first round, right? I'm just trying to figure out what 119 is, like what round in my head. Because if there was 60, then it would change it. So I'd imagine it's the end of the 3rd, 4th. It's like 3rd, 4th round. Yeah.
4 times
Boys.
30. I mean, 4 times 30, 120. Yeah.
Boys,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I just don't see it.
No,
I just
I'm
think
with
if you put up that year. Here's the thing: if you put up the year he just put up, and you still end up going at that 119, which is 3rd-ish or whatever, or you go through the 3rd through 5th. Why are you gonna? The situation to say let me try to do more to go higher is crazy because here's a name I'm gonna throw out to you just because it's closer to our fan base, right? Who's got a more athletic body or looks like they could be more versatile, if you will? Bear Jones or Greg Deichmann?
I guess if you're going strictly body type, Greg Deichmann.
Okay, so we're going to Greg Deichmann. You know what Greg Deichmann got drafted? He was a supplemental pick with a 308 year with 19 and almost 80 RBIs that year.
Right.
So if Bears to go lower with arguably better numbers, what on earth would he have to do to go higher than that?
Right. Look, I'm with you, 100%, 100%. And listen, just because the draft people say it's 119th, he's gonna get drafted at 119 doesn't mean anything. He can get drafted 80th, and that'd be that'd be the end of the second round. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean he's gonna go 119. That's just where they have him rated, and it's based. This is based off of non-MLB people.
Right. But that's why I keep saying, like, it just doesn't – it won't make much sense for him to come back, because you're basically telling him that what he did this year to go in the first round or middle of the second round or wherever would make him come back is not enough. And I reference Greg because in a time where it wasn't the same, Greg sat there, hit 308 with 15 doubles, 19 homers, 73 ribbies, 51 walks, and only 62 strikeouts. And he was a supplemental pick.
Right.
That's not going to be the only reference, but I guarantee you if those are the numbers, then they probably reference physicality as well, saying that, oh, he may be able to move around, he can move better, blah, blah, blah. He's more projectable. So if that guy got drafted there, there's just no way you're going to sit here and tell me that if he doesn't get drafted there, that he's going to come back. What do you have to do there?
Right. Right. I'm with you. We could talk about this all day.
And we should.
We need to talk a little bit about what's going on in the college baseball world. I mean, Jay's covering it still. It's not just us LSU guys over here.
Last one here. Blame Yeski.
You do this every time.
Fire Yeski. Yeski is the reason these pitchers couldn't fix him.
Okay.
Thank you, Ethan Evans.
That is not
It's not going to happen.
It's not a question. Not going to happen. But that's not
all caps.
Not an issue. All right. So there's one game left today. First, let's predict that game. Do you think it's going to win Georgia or NC State?
Ballot of sticks at this point. I think Georgia wins this game.
All right, so
Georgia wins. But I think they win this game.
That means there's 5 SEC teams in Omaha and 3 ACC teams. One side is all going to be SEC. They already have the sides picked out, and then the other is going to be 3 ACC teams and that other SEC team, which is nuts that the 5 SEC teams will be in the top 8 of the country.
Right.
But it's been extremely interesting. Baseball's been great outside of Florida State's series. And then Evansville just kind of woke the beast and Tennessee said, okay, hold on. And then after the third inning of the third game, they had eight home runs or hit or something crazy. And they kind of flexed their muscle. But the series have been great. The Clemson-Florida series is maybe the most entertaining 3-game series of anybody. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it was definitely, especially that last game. That was a absolute instant classic, man. The Cam Canarella kid,
dude, unbelievable.
Kick and play. That play in the outfield was every bit of Willie Mays. I was about to say Hank Aaron.
He was Hank Aaron too. He's hitting homers too.
Hey, every bit of Jim Edmonds diving straight over his head, that's probably the best play I've ever seen, because when it comes to making a play over your head, because you forget Clemson has that hill. So he's going uphill,
right,
and he's got the wall to deal with, so he has to jump into the wall as well.
Yep.
And he didn't even catch it with his glove. He caught it with his forearm.
Body. Yeah, no doubt, dude. And the situation of the game, right? Like, if he doesn't catch that ball, their season is over. This is the end of the game. There's oh, no, great play, almost. It's, great play. I'm going to lay down on the ground because I know that my season's over with because the guys are scored. Like, that type of thing. And he makes the play. Like, it's –
And with the swing, the contact, as soon as they pan to the outfield and you saw that he was playing – he wasn't playing in. You know what I'm saying? But as soon as you saw that he was playing to cut down a runner at home and he was still able to get back to that ball, it's all incredible.
And get back to that ball and jump and you're jumping and timing at the same time.
Life.
And it's over your shoulder. So that's a hard timing play because
going uphill. He's running uphill.
Right. And then he catches it looking at the wall, knowing awareness that the wall is going to get hit. And he catches it and holds it tight. Because listen, if he doesn't know the wall's there, he catches it and the ball pops out, no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind because he's not expecting the contact. And he's maybe not going to be as tight in his arm. I know he knows the wall's there. He tightened up. That ball doesn't pop out, and now it's they go into extra innings. It's wild.
Looked like Skylar Green in
Then
2003.
Then yeah, and then the extra inning stuff happens, and you get, is it the 11th inning? I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson had gone up a 12th. They had gone up a run, and then when they hit the go-ahead, the guy hit the home run for the go-ahead to score the go-ahead run. He goes nuts, spikes his bat, and then everything gets crazy. 2 coaches get ejected. It was kind of controversial. I didn't see the whole thing, so if anybody saw it between you two, can y'all explain exactly what happened to me?
Jared?
I mean, why are you calling me? Listen, the bat spike happened. I think Bakic, I think is his name, came out, which is the head coach of Clemson, came out being, are you really having a meeting over if he spiked it too hard? And they basically said, yes, indeed, we are. He kind of lost it about it. And the next thing you know, you got their old legendary coach who's also in uniform and pants in the dugout as well, comes out. He gets tossed as well. Then they say both of them are suspended for the next 2 games if they win this game. And then after all that finally calms down, Florida says, you know what, we're going to end it today. Y'all can both still go home, and we'll just hit the walk-off double here. Like, it was kind of crazy how it went.
Yeah, I wish I turned it off right before that. I had to leave the house, and I was like, fuck. And, of course, I come back.
There was even some
what's the score?
WWE, you left the field, like, getting the fans up and everything, and it still just went wrong.
Can we talk about this? So early in the game, there were some,
little extracurriculars.
There's some things that happened early. Little benches clearing, little skerfuffle. Little benches. What do you think I said?
No.
Benches clearing, skerfuffle. But I was a little disappointed in
Cags?
Yeah.
It's a big dude to challenge.
I'm disappointed because Cags did the whole deal. The guy look, I get it. You can say something. Well, Cags goes in and just shoulder checks him and then walks away. I'm gonna get real in your face a little bit and talk down to you. Instead, it was a shoulder shrug and then I'll back away, all kind of like talking shit over his back shoulder. I'm like, I don't really. I mean, it wasn't nothing was gonna happen anyway. I didn't really like that.
I know nobody was gonna do shit anyway.
That's what I mean.
I wasn't really worried about it.
I knew nobody was gonna do anything. It just didn't look good. For me.
Team X-Blades move instead of Team Pup and Suds.
Yeah,
Brink.
It didn't really. I mean, whatever. But I just didn't like how he initiated the extra. The guy gave the shove, and then he came back with the shoulder, and then he walked away. It was just like, hey, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Well, and Cags can't get kicked out either.
Nothing was going to happen. Like, you don't need to throw it, but both of them did it. It would have been, hey, warn the benches, do whatever.
Do you know who the umpire was?
Was it Derek?
Yeah. No, it was the same guy from the LSU North Carolina series with the sunglasses at night that wanted to throw Bear Jones out after the home run. He seems to insert himself into every game. It's actually pretty remarkable.
Always the ump show.
With him.
Yeah, I don't
Derek.
know. But that game was amazing. Florida's got a right fielder, Ashton Wilson, who I think he had, 4 at-bats, Jared, up until the last month of the season. They said his numbers.
He's got 55 at-bats on the season. He was the regional MVP as well, too. And then he's come on, man. They had some young kids that have come on late for him. And, man, I'll be honest with you, man, I think another thing that played huge for them in that game and in that series, so the game before, they had Brandon Neely come out of the pen. I think he threw 4 or 4+ innings, threw 50-something pitches. Well, yesterday he came back and threw 70+ pitches yesterday and threw another 3 or 4 innings for him. So, and I know it wasn't shutout ball, but I think for a team, when you're sitting there watching someone like that give that kind of effort for you and really keep you in the game, I think it gives you a little bit of extra juice as well. And I think they were able to feed off of him just being out there, bro. That's 120, 130 pitches that he threw in back-to-back days, 2 days in a row.
Still not stiffing West Virginia starter that threw 144.
Yeah, but
I don't care about that because my point is usually find anybody who's throwing 50, 60 in one day, they're probably not touching the ball the next day, much less picking it up and throwing another 70 the next day.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That was a wild deal. I mean, that Ashton, but what's crazy to me is I didn't know that, right? You talked about guys stepping up. I didn't know not only was the MVP of the regional, but like he's coming up in these big moments. He hit the home run to tie. Was it to tie the game?
Yeah. No, to take the lead. It was 6-6, then he went 9-6.
That's right. So it was the home run to go ahead, to go up, and they're like, yeah. And the way he swung, I was like, Ashton Wilson's second home run of the year. And I'm like, because he's hitting right after Caglione. Like that, he was hitting behind Jack Caglione. Because they intentionally walked Jack. Yeah, they intentionally walked him and he hit the homer. So, like, not only does he only have 55 at-bats, and it was regional, he's protecting their best hitter, which is wild. Wild. Good for him. Cool story.
Yeah, that's what they put in there. And like I said, it's been working for him. You can't really argue it. This is a team that went into the SEC tournament, I believe, 2 games over 500, into the NCAA tournament, 1 game over 500. I think they got less than 35 wins right now, like to date, and they are in Omaha.
Yeah, and like they're probably gonna be middle of the road favorite to win it all.
Hey, and I can tell you this too. I truly believe this. I don't know if anybody else really believes this, but that last series of the year, let's just say the schedule played to where they were playing maybe like Auburn that weekend, and that's who they beat. Instead, they went to Georgia and beat them 2 out of 3 when Georgia was looking to be able to lock down a national seed. I think personally that was huge into them getting that at-large bid.
I agree. Nobody's been talking about Florida State. They won 24-4 in their first game, and they ended up winning this game.
Yeah, you know what we don't speak about with Florida State, which I think is something that's real, is 2 years ago Tennessee had that ridiculous season where they won 50-something games, didn't even lose double-digit ball games, and then they get a super regional at home to get themselves to Omaha, and they brought in, not Evansville, but they brought in Notre Dame, who beat them in 3 games. You know who the head coach of that team was?
The coach of
Lane
Florida
Jarrett,
State.
the same guy that's the head coach of this Florida State team. So he obviously is a very, very good coach, and he knows what he's doing. So this team can make a run kind of in a way that they really haven't in the past when they've made it to Omaha.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a lot of names that you associate with college baseball.
All uniform.
In the Omaha,
Missing
obviously
one
minus
for sure.
LSU, but like, not counting the SEC, like Florida State hadn't been there in a minute, right? Like that's a team when you think of college baseball, Florida State's a team that pops into your head. You have UNC, who had made it 3 or 4 straight years in like the 2005 to 2008 range. And, like, they're back in there. You had Clemson in the Super Regional the first time in forever that they kind of were relevant or about to be back in Omaha. It's just like all these baseball names that we grew up are all in there, minus obviously LSU. So I think it's going to be an interesting –
It's going to be a hell of an Omaha.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how –
because it doesn't feel like you have the – I would say, like, LSU was the prohibitive favorite.
I think Tennessee's going to be the favorite.
Right. But it felt like LSU was almost –
yeah.
They should win it. This year, you don't know what's going to happen.
You're going to have – I'm trying to – yeah. I mean
Tennessee, Kentucky, new kid on the block, but they're playing a brand of baseball that probably plays in Omaha.
Well, that's the thing is I'm interested to see – let's say Georgia does win.
Oh.
I'm interested to see what that offense looks like on that field because we saw that
SEC tournament.
in SEC tournament it wasn't great. I'm not discrediting how good they are, but like I'm interested to see what they look like in Omaha in a bigger field. We've seen it neutralize a lot of teams before, so that's going to be interesting if they make it there. A lot of these teams do live and die by the home run. A lot of them have a lot of homers, and so it's going to be what teams is that going to affect them in Omaha? Like, is Omaha going to keep them in the ballpark a little bit more, and they're going to have to try to win games in a different way? It's going to be crazy. North Carolina. I wasn't super, super impressed with North Carolina outside of how good they were defensively.
That's what kills. Like,
Right.
watching them the way that we all kind of did was, even when you turn them on against West Virginia, like, that defense plays. Like, that's not a fluke. That's how they win baseball games.
Right. I mean, look, they got some bats in the lineup too, but that was what stuck out to me. It was like, damn, these guys play like they didn't miss one play. Like, everything was made plus some. What about Jay? What do you like from over there?
For this weekend, man, I think you can see a lot of fireworks. I really want to see, like you said, kind of the guys these teams that have relied on have been huge in providing power. Omaha plays plays a little bit bigger. And if you happen to get a couple days where the wind is blowing in, how are some of these teams that have lived off the homer basically going to be able to cut the wind and or start finding ways to like manufacture runs? So you look to see like, if a team, like I say if, they're already there, they punched their ticket, but a team like Kentucky that gets there, that ain't afraid to drop squeeze bunts down in the third, that ain't afraid to steal bags, can they kind of push themselves through this thing? It's kind of what you look for, honestly, in this situation, because you just don't know. It's a big field, but it also can be a bandbox kind of where the wind's blowing. But if you get wind blowing in, like how is that going to play in that ballpark?
Let me ask you this. So Cags is probably he's projected the first round, right? Like not top 10. I mean, maybe some people have said he's going to go 1 overall. I haven't seen a ton of people say, oh, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Do you think that he can play himself into that by how he plays in Omaha? Because you've seen it before. Like, we've seen guys have some, like, crazy – I believe Ty Floyd played himself up high into the supplemental first round because of how he did in Omaha in the postseason. Do you think that Jack could maybe get his way into the number 1 overall pick?
I don't, honestly, and it's only because, so it seems to be that a lot of these teams, and I'm not saying that he's not going to get a chance to do it, but it seems to be that a lot of these teams are now looking at him as a guy that, I get it, the arm is good, and it's been, like, obviously his last outing, he was down to, I think at some points he was sitting in like the 89 and 91 range. Now last year we saw him all the way up to 97, 98. But I think what people are looking at is that the bat is so far advanced from where the arm is that, hey, if we draft him as both, that means we have to just keep him in the minors and wait for the arm to kind of get here? Or can we just draft him as a bat and use him as a bat?
Right.
So I think because so many of these teams are starting to look at him more now as the bat because they think it's far in advance of where he is on the mound, I think that's what's dropping him a little bit right now.
I agree.
So I don't think he can go there and basically play himself into a 1 unless he went there and somehow threw two like shutout 10 plus strikeout games and they're like, oh my God, wait, maybe the arm is a little bit better than what we thought. I don't know, but I don't see it happening.
It's gonna be fun to watch though. There's gonna be a lot of
it's electric.
That's why I like watching, because you're watching these guys, like, they're gonna be in the big leagues, especially now, relatively soon, and so it's fun to. Langford's already in the big leagues. Skeen's already in the big leagues, right? This is from last year's World Series. So this year's World Series, these guys are going to make a name for themselves first time probably around the country. People around the country are going to be able to see them. Then they get drafted and they continue that momentum through the minor leagues. It's cool to see. It's electric. I'm bummed we're not able to go. Sucks. We're not going without them. Don't even think about trying to go.
I don't want to go without LSU there, but I would not go.
You would maybe not go. Yeah.
Great chewing gum there. Favorite flavor.
Oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. It's gonna be interesting, dude. So,
but real quick, what Florida's done does show you that like LSU had a chance to punch.
I knew you had something to say. You were sitting there. I don't know what you were doing back there.
I just didn't want to say it, but it really did. The more I was watching like North Carolina play West Virginia, if LSU had West Virginia, an all-time matchup by the way, if it had been in Alec Box. Like,
they were set up.
West Virginia people are fucking nuts.
They were LSU set up.
Yeah,
West Virginia wasn't good.
And then you have Florida, like Jared said, a team that was almost on the cut line because they didn't win enough baseball games. And they're going to Omaha. It's like LSU, you're one kind of like push and pull. So if you were new to the LSU baseball season, aside from last year where it was just kind of like this magical run where you're like, it's kind of like 2019-ish for LSU football. But if you're trying to like scratch and claw and get your way in there, that shows you why, like if you're 3-12, you're going to be all right. Like if you can steady the ship and give yourself a chance to be in the fight.
Yep.
Here's what I will say, which I call it what you want. This is probably my only like one little takeaway from the seeding and or the pairing or however you want to go about it. Now, Florida was a 3 seed, obviously, right? But if you take a team like LSU, how did LSU as being one of the top 2 seeds that's in there get paired with the top
Yeah.
AC team, which was obviously the
So-
4 overall team.
So
that,
this
that
was
to me, the pairing of how that fell is a little weird.
This is I'm glad you said, because this is a conversation Lloyd and I had on the show. When you're on Friday, right? Whenever you were in, was it Hoover? No, it was after Hoover. It was you're going to Charlotte, and we had the show. And that's exactly what I said. I was like, if they seeded college baseball like they seed college basketball, the number 1 team and the 64th team, and you say, all right, you're in this, and you match them up that way, right? LSU clearly would have been in a more favorable regional. But the reason, and it's not right, but the reason why they do that is because it's just it's regional sports, right? Like they're not rating it 1 through 64. They're rating it off the regions.
The women's basketball tournament, there's a regional as well.
No. I'm not saying like the regional title. I'm saying baseball is a regional sport. They don't they're not flying one team from Florida to California because it's
want to
not
keep it regional.
They want to keep it more in that region. Now sometimes people go away, like we went to LA, like that. I know it's different, but it's not seeded 1 through 64, which I think it should be. That's what I'm saying. But that's why they don't do it.
But that's stupid because
I agree.
LSU has gone to a region.
Oh.
Oh.
Right when he was about to get on it. Oh no.
State.
Wait.
Say that again.
You're gonna have to say it all over again. You froze on us.
Oh, I said, but that doesn't make any sense because LSU has been in regionals at Oregon State, regionals at UCLA.
Agree.
You're not going to tell me that there wasn't a regional that's more regional, that's closer,
100%,
than going all the way west coast.
All right.
So that doesn't. So I'm sure the rules of that hasn't changed since those years. So then, what's the sense of that?
I 100% agree. That was my argument to Lloyd. I was like, I think they should just seed it 1 through 64. That's how it should be seeded. And if you had LSU rated, they are 18th and they're the top 18 team, that means they're the number 2 seed. So you put them in according to that. It's just
You wouldn't have you wouldn't have a quote unquote 3 seed playing a 1 seed. It would be like in college basketball, it's a 3 versus it'd be a 4v12, so a 3 versus 11 matchup. In college basketball, you should be the prohibitive favorite,
right?
As opposed to you get to go to North Carolina and play North Carolina.
And I'll even go this far too to say this: I do think once it came time to call so-called postseason baseball, I will say that I think Florida had an easier route, albeit they had to go to Oklahoma State, then they had to go to Clemson, but they didn't go to any conference winners, right? And they didn't go to higher seeded teams. But I do think Florida deserved it more than LSU because when it comes down to it, don't forget head-to-head, Florida came to Baton Rouge and smacked them.
Right.
Smacked it strong.
Smacked them.
Yep.
They 10-run ruled them on Sunday. They beat them on Saturday and 10-run ruled them on Sunday. They smacked them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm with you though. I'm glad you said that because we had talked about it before. Maybe a couple weeks ago, whenever they were announced.
It was in us too.
It was just me and you, right? Because I remember Jared he was in the air because we mentioned it. Oh, Jared's in the air right now. That's why we can't zoom him in. But I brought that exact same issue up. So I'm 100% with you. I think it's stupid. I think it would be better. But then you figure out, okay, how do you seed 14? Never mind. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, let's fix college baseball right now.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
We got our brightest minds on it.
What else we want to talk about, boys?
I bet Scotty Scheffler to win.
Coach, that guy's
Nails.
also U.S. Open this weekend. Very excited. Love
Woods.
watching majors because Tiger still draws, right? He's still literally he is the guy that people want to see now. Now what Scotty Scheffler's doing is Tiger-esque. To be honest with you,
No.
I mean, Listen to me. He's won
Do-
four.
do it
He's won
again.
at 5 tournaments.
Do it again. Do it for 8 years.
I understand. I'm talking about this year is a Tiger-esque. I'm not
Yes.
saying he is Tiger
Thank
as a
you,
player
Mother.
overall, but he is like this year is a Tiger-esque type of year.
Yes.
Obviously times are different. Money's different than it was back in the day.
police
But
are different.
But the Tiger-esque year wasn't made from doing it 1 year. It became Tiger-esque because
No
it became
doubt.
a lit-
100%.
career that he did.
100%. They're not the same player. That's not even remotely close to what I'm saying. But he's has, I think, 5 wins this year. Times are different. The money is different. He set the record 3 straight years for most money won on tour. 2 years ago he set it, and then he broke that last year. He's already broken that one this year, and he's still got like 3 months left of the season. So he's having a great year. It's really cool to watch him do it because, he's been as dominant as really anybody's been in the last 20 years, 15 years, I guess. 15 is about whenever Tiger got in that first little incident.
I didn't see it. It was,
You know what I mean?
It was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like that was around that time. So however long that is. But we got that this weekend.
Stuffed too many turkeys.
You're so stupid.
Finals? Any thoughts? I tried to watch
Finals?
hockey
I
for
already
the
called
first
it.
time.
Don't go Celtics, man.
Yeah, I knew the
There's
Celtics.
No way.
I wanted
No way they don't.
I wanted Mavs win. I knew the Celtics would win. I mean, Kyrie's gonna have to start scoring some points.
Yeah, they will.
0 for 8 from 3 yesterday.
I mean, like they
They got the richest contract on their team. The next guy that's actually probably the better player on their team is about to top that contract. If they can't win it now, man, you got to blow that thing up. And I just don't see it happening that way. And they're the ones that have the near championship or finals runs experience, if you will.
Oh, you're talking about
Getting it
Boston.
done. This is the year.
You're talking about Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it's
Kyrie 0-12 against the Celtics
I know.
since he stomped on the logo is wild.
Oh, you got that from Dave Portnoy.
I got that from Dan Lebitard and Dave Portnoy and anywhere you get your news.
Yeah. I just saw it pop up when he tweeted it
Yeah, I
on
saw
my
it too.
phone. Yeah, I think Boston. I don't think they sweep though. I think the Mavericks win this next game.
Georgia
Yeah.
minus 160 tonight. Over under, take a guess.
15.
Who?
Georgia, North Carolina.
Minus
State.
160.
Yeah, money line.
15.5.
Jared.
What's the run line?
I'm going to go,
He's really good at this.
honestly, I'm going to go 17.5.
You were right on it. 15.
Oh wow.
A reversal of roles.
That's a high number. I mean, obviously we know that this reason why. The offense is what's getting Georgia there. There's no
Bats
doubt
are
about that.
juiced.
Balls
yeah.
are juiced.
Balls are juiced.
I bet you this. I don't know the numbers. This is just
Imagine if you
strictly
had
off
those
of
in
my seeing
2011.
limited college baseball games. I'm willing to bet if you went back and you looked at how many players have 20 home runs this year around the country in Division I baseball, it's to be the most ever. Or since maybe the 90s or something. You know what I mean?
It's gorilla ball.
Don't you do realize Tennessee's like, I want to say within 20, probably maybe even like right at like 15 or less.
Oh, to break the
Although
record.
she's like, yeah. So if you don't think bats are balls or anything's juice or nothing's
Yeah.
different, you're out.
I never thought that record would even be close to. Like, you can
Yeah.
hit 140,
You're out of your
150 homers, and you're still almost 40 home runs away.
Yeah, exactly.
Odds-on favorite, Tennessee.
Yeah,
Finally their time.
I think so.
If Vitello goes to Texas, that would be all
If
time.
they can't do it, then Vitello gets the
Texas job.
Mike Martin treatment, where he gets to Omaha all these times and can't win. I mean, Mike Martin's a Hall of Fame coach, never won one. Went to Omaha like 20 times or something crazy throughout his career.
Last year against LSU.
Yeah, magic, but he can't win it. Crazy.
The opposite of Skip.
Yep.
Also couldn't win the big one this weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
Jay, what do you got planned? You're there for one more day and you come back?
Yeah, another day come back, and I got to come back here for the presser conversation.
And then after that,
Thursday.
TBD.
Yeah, we'll
right.
see.
And real quick, just a couple of notes to clean up on because this happened right before, but we talked about it a little bit. Just Chandler Dorsey commits to LSU out the portal.
Yep.
And then we had the Palminteri news. So just two things to kind of recap. And
Oh, yeah, Paul Manero. We never really talked about that.
I thought you talked to him.
I told you I wasn't texting him in person.
I think Jared was. I saw it off the screen.
Yeah, you can see that. You lying. You lying.
Yeah. Interesting to see what happens with that situation. But
You think he would take? How old is he?
he wouldn't go, I don't think. He wouldn't go, I don't think.
How old is he?
I don't know, 60-something?
There's nothing like competing. The old golf club can only do it so much. If you give him a chance,
Yeah.
what if he brings back like old Paul, like fever blister Paul, split lip Paul?
67 years old, that's how old he is.
How old's Nick Saban?
70-something.
Got four. I'd sign him to a 4-year deal.
I don't think he would.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard for me to believe. It's just me. It's just me. It's hard for me to believe that a 66-year-old Ray Tanner who competed against Paul is trying to bring him there. Ray Tanner coaching is no longer coaching. Why would he be trying to hire a coach older than him?
Right.
It's hard for me to
Lloyd, you
believe
got
that.
a wasp in here?
Fuck you. Oh,
It's-
I see it.
you see it?
There. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a heads up, dude.
I appreciate it.
And if I get stung by a wasp, you got to take me to the hospital.
You don't have an EpiPen?
Not on me.
Spit in your mouth.
So if you want to kill me, people.
Actually, they're the exact same age.
Yeah.
Paul's a couple years, I say years. Paul's a couple months younger than him.
Coach, if this thing comes at me, people are going to laugh at this video. There's a wasp flying around the room, Jay.
And he's super allergic. It's staring right at me.
I may flip the
it.
desk over if it comes at me.
A lot of cameras.
Yep. All right. Well,
Ugh.
let's get to the seggies on that note. Lloyd, you got a mistake of the day?
We might have one right now.
I'm watching it. I'm
Yeah,
watching
keep
it.
an
I'm
eye
watching
on
it.
Keep an eye up. Yeah, it's mistake of the day. I sent it in the group chat, but I will add it to the video because the video is unbelievable. If you watch it with the volume and just the theatrics of what's going on in this rodeo where a bull gets loose and it's during the "I'm proud to be an American" and the whole crowd singing, and it is just electric content. This is what America is made for.
Do you have it on here?
I am pulling it up right now. The computer is super slow today.
Don't love that this wasp is flying around here. It's distracting me. Can't. Oh. Oh shit!
And then there's a part 2 that is absolutely unbelievable.
Do you have the other one?
Yeah, I'm telling you, we're fading over here on the computer end.
Oh really?
Yeah.
We need to shut this thing down.
No, 1 second. Here. So I have the next part, which is not as funny, but also fucking hysterical because it goes exactly. Tell me.
This is part 2 after he jumped into the stands.
Tell me what color you would wear to a rodeo, or what color you wouldn't wear. What would be number
Red,
one on the
probably.
list? Yep. And that bears fruit here at this poor woman who is wearing red and gets absolutely steamrolled. And that.
Boom! Oh my god! Oh my god! She died. Oh, not only did she get steamrolled, she got flipped up, caught up on it, and dragged for about. Oh my god!
There's the next part too.
I don't want to see the next part.
That's just the beginning, but unbelievable. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's her fault a little bit. Talk about no situational awareness.
I mean, dude, like she wore a red shirt, bro. Like, she can't imagine this bull ever being in that situation. That's some Final Destination shit.
That would be crazy. Hips gone, toast.
God, it's terrible. All right, so that's Mistake of the Day brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. We got curtain calls, boys?
Yeah.
What you got? Curtain calls brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And
Me?
I mentioned it already, but I'm going to bring it up again. It's probably one of the only times you ever see me doing this. So if there's anybody that's a Florida fan in this thing you're watching, congratulations. You won't get much more of it. I'll give it to Brandon Neely, though. 2 days in a row, 8 innings plus 131 pitches, like 11 punchies, and big part in your team punching your way to Middle America. Salute.
Lloyd.
curtain call to the WNBA sticking to their guns and doing what's worse for basketball and their brand more than ever by not inviting Caitlin Clark to the Olympic team or even to the trials, because the quote is that her amount of playing time would be too much of a spectacle as opposed to trying to win the gold medal. Or you could just grow the game internationally with probably your biggest star you've ever had since Lisa Leslie or Candace Parker.
Yeah. Man, you know what? Hey, it's kind of great. I actually love that you brought that up because it was crazy listening. I actually watched them First Take this morning. I listened to them to have that conversation. And it was crazy to me that these are, and they weren't the ones that did it, but they're obviously in agreement with what was said last week. But Stephen A. got challenged about not promoting the WNBA the way it needs to be promoted. Why the WNBA and USA Basketball are not promoting their biggest moneymaker. Right. But you're asking other people to promote your league, which is crazy to me. And they're saying, well, maybe this might not be the best thing for Caitlin Clark. And maybe it might not be. But if she goes out there and she's not the star or she's not the best, what will it quickly do for the reputation of your league? Probably show you that, hey,
not as easy
this league might be legit because she ain't that good in it.
Right.
There's no reason why she probably shouldn't be on it. Just really that simple.
Bullshit.
It's just such a bizarre scenario where they're clearly what if they did this to LeBron? And it's this is going to probably be the face of your sport, the most popular player you've had since Michael Jordan. And it's we don't like him. Okay, do that to your own detriment. There's no reason not.
I don't understand how you can ask someone else to promote what you won't.
Yeah. Or actively work against it. It's like Sports 101.
No doubt.
Let me mansplain WNBA to WNBA fans. Curtain call.
My curtain call is to kind of mention him earlier. I'm going to mess his name up. Is it Cantanella?
No, Canarella.
Canarella.
That's the Italian.
Cam Canarella, the center fielder for Clemson.
I think he's actually mixed. I think he is.
The center fielder for Clemson, baller. So my shout out to him, 3-run home run to tie the game in the top of the 9th inning, and then the catch to keep the game from being over and going, and then causing it to go into extra innings. Is he a freshman? No.
No, I think he's a second-year player.
Yeah, I think he's a sophomore. Shout out to him. Also, shout out to Chris McGee birthday.
Shout out to Michael Hollander, hole-in-one.
Michael Hollander, hole-in-one.
Shout out to whoever you played with, hole-in-one.
Mickey Parrington, hole-in-one. Hole-in-one. In my face, playing against me, beat me. No, not really because of it, but that just ended the match before I even had that shot.
Oh, you couldn't cover him up? It's not like beer pong, like redemption?
Well, here's the deal. We both got strokes on that hole.
Oh, he made more.
So he next got a 0. He didn't even play the hole.
Oh.
They just gave him a 0 on the scorecard on that hole.
It's like Kim Jong-un.
Yeah. 1 on everything.
18.
Yeah.
Personal best.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Plus I went first.
Where'd you put it?
Probably about just short of the green. Easy up and down though. Pin was it was in the front of the green, so it was a good placement.
What was the number?
It was
160.
No, it was 180.
Oh.
It was 180 with
iron?
a little help.
8 iron?
8 iron.
Yeah.
But not as much help as I thought. I wish I'd have taken an easy 7. So it was a little short, but in good shape. They said short's better than long to miss. So that's why I went with it. That was it.
Or just make it.
Yeah, just make it. But he made it after me, and that was not good. But, all right. That's all we got. We appreciate you tuning in. Early show.
Yeah. Didn't mean to go live, but glad we did.
I was about to say, when you started asking questions, I was like, I'm not going to ask it on air. I was going to ask you over here. I was like, did we go live?
Yeah,
how did it turn out?
Great.
Was it?
Just under 100.
Really?
No more.
No, really, though.
Oh, yeah. They found us.
Well, okay. I love that. Good to know. That's a good note. That's a nice little lesson for us.
Yes. People want to be
even short notice
with the boys.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you like what you saw today, sometimes you get early days. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us, if you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods, we'll be back live on Wednesday without Jay. Maybe with Jay. We'll figure it out. We'll try to figure out the schedule, see if it works. Regardless, you'll see me and Lloyd on Wednesday. Jared, whenever he arrives back into the motherland. And enjoy the rest of your Monday night. I love you.
Peace.
Peace.
Ask Mikey and Mitch if Jared's here.
Oh, yep. Good call.
Later, boys.
Definitely didn't have